afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Herb Reinhardt. I'm the Director of Athletics at Valdosta State University. And on behalf of the Athletic Department and Valdosta State University, I want to extend a very warm and sincere welcome to you today to our 8th annual Athletic Hall of Fame induction luncheon. This continues to be a very, very special day in the life of this university. For today, we get to honor 4 very, very special people who thrilled us with their exploits on the athletic fields, but more importantly, have gone on to do very, very special things with their lives and are tremendous representatives of this institution. This will be a fun day. This will be a fun event. We welcome you. Glad to have you with us. This time, I'd like to ask President Dr. Ronald Zachari to come forward and deliver some remarks. Dr. Zachari.
Thanks very much, Herb. Good afternoon, everyone. Honorees, families and friends and members of the VSU Booster Organization, community supporters, members of the coaching staffs and their support personnel, student athletes, members of the VSU faculty, staff, students, ladies and gentlemen. It's always an honor for me to attend this annual Athletic Hall of Fame luncheon. For me, it's a very important day of transition. It's an opportunity to look back on our winter sports, all the wonderful accomplishments, to look at the basketball in full swing as we get into the heart of the Gulf South Conference competition. And Herb and I usually, and many other members of the staff, just arrived back from the annual NCAA convention that's held in January. And it's a time for me as president of the university to reaffirm my commitment to VSU athletics. As you understand, Valdosta State is committed to athletics, and it's important in the daily life of this institution of higher education. I would like to congratulate Lance and Daryl and Bridget and Brian. Thank each of you for bringing distinction to Valdosta State University, Blazer Athletics, to your individual sports, as well as recognition to self and your families. We are very, very proud of your accomplishments, and on this day we celebrate with you. I'm sure you all agree with me that 2004 has come about very quickly in our lives. And just as there's a beginning of every campaign, every athletic season, Valdosta State University will face many challenges in 2004. I believe this will be an especially demanding year on many fronts. A good analogy to share with you as each coach prepares for the season, you hope for the best recruiting class, fewer injuries during the season, using the best equipment, hoping that your staff remains intact, that you're going to make the right decisions, prepare the right game plans. There's so many variables to get the job done well. And as we all want to be in the win column. And often, despite the best plans, you have a little control over destiny. And so it is with the operation of the total university. 2006 will mark 100 years of existence for Valdosta State University. Last 98 years have been very, very enriching and rewarding for all of us. The good news for this 2004 is that this is the 3rd consecutive year of record enrollments at this institution. And on the bad news side, it is also the 3rd consecutive year of declining state revenues. And I'm not going to dwell on the negative during this brief presentation. VSU is too important to the state of Georgia. It's too important to the southern region of this state. and certainly too important to Valdosta and Lowndes County and surrounding areas, we are moving ahead at Valdosta State University. Just a few quick examples. Just last week, we finished our meetings in Atlanta to prepare for the groundbreaking in June for $24 million worth of new housing. To be state-of-the-art housing, you won't find better facilities anywhere in the United States, even at any major university, land-grant, Division I. This is state-of-the-art. We are working with a master plan, engaging the community and the university, looking out 10 years. We're planning a new $30 million health sciences facility on the North Campus, and that project is beginning to move up in the priorities for state funding. We hope that that will be online within the next few years. We're planning many new instructional facilities, new and improved athletic facilities, and we have worked very, very hard during the last 24 months to get all 5 planning components to the point where they're beginning to gel. We are renewing our booster organization, working with the booster organization over the next few months to rewrite its constitution and bylaws, and to bring the booster organization into an integral part of the fundraising plans that we have ahead. Many of you know we just hired a new vice president for university advancement, Mr. Scott Sykes. He's not with us today, and his wife are packing and preparing to move in 2 weeks to the new home in Valdosta. Scott is coming to us from the University of Georgia. His foundation office, 14 years of experience, and he's ready to take on a very exciting fundraising campaign. And this is a time when I also annually review the current and future operations or objectives and activities of the National Collegiate Athletic Association. And just this morning, I was reading some of the current literature, and they are charging university presidents to take a greater role in intercollegiate athletics. And primarily, they want us to focus on the student athlete, not just the athlete, the student athlete. And our goal is to graduate those who participate in VSU's athletic program. Let me give you a couple of examples. During this past fall semester, the student athletes on this campus had an average of 2.85 GPA, higher than the average of the total university. I think that speaks extremely well of our student athletes. During this spring semester, there will be an annual academic luncheon. Now, to be invited to that academic luncheon, the student must have a 3.0 or better overall or during this past semester. Herb just told me that this spring, 137 student athletes will be invited to that academic luncheon. We are on a good path at Valdosta State University and Blazer Athletics. Thank you, coaches, all the staff, and Herb Reinhardt. Athletic competition holds intrinsic value for our higher education institutions. And it's a symbol of a great ideal, ladies and gentlemen. That ideal, pursuing victory with honor. Pursuing victory with honor. All of us at VSU must constantly keep in mind that everything we do should be done with class. In the classroom, the practice field, on game day, in our offices, we strive to be role models for all others to follow. Integrity in intercollegiate athletics has never been more important than it is today. And I'm pleased to be assertive in this particular statement. In the 2 years that I've been at Valdosta State University, I'm extremely proud of the way we conduct our business in athletics. We have no problems. We have good student athletes. We have sound programs. And we are going to strive to be even better. So for everyone gathered here today, thanks for all you do to promote Valdosta State University and intercollegiate athletics. What we do today will grant us the privilege to honor future inductees into this Valdosta State University Athletics Hall of Fame, and I thank you all for supporting Blazer Athletics. Pleasure to be with you today. Thank you.
At this time, it'll be my great pleasure to present the 2004 class of the Valdosta State University Athletic Hall of Fame. Inductees, when I call your name, if you'll proceed to the front of the table, the head table. Our first inductee, Lance Funderburk, still holds 5 passing records as a 2-year starter for the Blazer football teams in 1995 and 1996. A 4-year letterman, he threw for 8,192 yards and 67 touchdowns in his career, completing 65% of his passes. A 2-time all-conference selection. He earned All-America honors as a senior when he was named the Gulf South Conference's Offensive Player of the Year after leading the Blazers to our first conference championship. That same year, he was the runner-up for the coveted Harlan Hill Trophy. Still should have won it. Which goes to the most outstanding player in Division II football. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lance Funderburk. Darryl Green. Darryl played #1 singles and doubles for the Blazers from 1991 to 1995, earning all-conference honors 3 times and All-America accolades twice. His senior season, he led Valdosta State to a top 5 national ranking and finished 2nd in the national tournament in doubles. He was named Freshman of the Year and Player of the Year in 1992 after winning the league's singles title. A former assistant coach at Valdosta State, he's currently an assistant for the University of Alabama women's team, and last night at the reception he sweated out Alabama's first match of the season, and yes, they won. Ladies and gentlemen, our second inductee, Mr. Darryl Greenan. Bridget Moore, women's basketball. Bridget came out of Berrien County to star on 4 Lady Blazer teams, which compiled an overall record of 85-28 from 1983 to 1987. A 3-year starter and all Gulf South Conference selection, she is the 10th all-time scorer in Valdosta State University history with 1,445 career points. She continues to hold school records for best free throw percentage in a season and for a career. A perennial Dean's List student, she is one of only 3 2-time recipients of the coveted Commissioner's Trophy, awarded annually to the Gulf South Conference's most outstanding student athlete. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Bridget Moore, women's basketball. Brian Shover, baseball. Brian Shover was a 4-year starter for Blazer baseball teams from 1992 to 1995, and the workhorse, and I mean workhorse, of 3 consecutive staffs as a sophomore, junior, and senior. A right-hander, he struck out 365 batters in only 347 innings. That's more than a strikeout an inning. Allowed only 302 hits, and finished with a career record of 31 wins, 18 losses. His win and strikeout totals are still Valdosta State University records. His senior season, he led the Blazers to a regional championship in Florence, Alabama, and a 3rd-place finish in the Division II World Series. He was a 2-time All-Conference and All-America selection. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brian Shover, baseball. Dr. Zachariah will now come forward and make the formal induction.
By the authority vested in me by the state of Georgia and the Board of Regents of the University System of Georgia, I hereby induct each of you into the Valdosta State University Athletic Hall of Fame with all the rights and privileges appertaining thereto. Congratulations.
All right, folks, if you'll now move back to your seats, we're going to now listen to the remarks of the inductees. And Lance, you get to start off. Ladies and gentlemen, Lance Funderburk.
Let's up a little bit. Well, what an honor to be up here in front of you today. I can remember, and will always remember, when I got a call from Herb formally letting me know that I had been going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it was a great call, very excited, very surprised, but just a huge honor to be in front of you today. It's great to be back and see a lot of familiar faces, see people I haven't seen in years, and just be here in a place that I hold very dear in my heart. And being on the stage with Bridget and Daryl and Brian, congratulations to you guys. It's an honor to be here with you, three other great athletes that excelled in their respective sports as well. First of all, I'd like to just thank Valdosta State University, Mr. Reinhardt, and President Bailey was also here when I first stepped on campus. Coach Mummy was the coach that recruited me here. And I got to say, I still really don't know how I ended up here with a scholarship, because I came from a 1-9 high school team my senior year, and these guys were one of the few people that were willing to give me a shot. So I just have to say thanks for the opportunity that they gave me to come here and fulfill a childhood dream of playing college football. Had great times here, great memories, and it wouldn't have been possible without the opportunities that these guys afforded me to not only play football, but to receive a quality education. So thank you to Herb and Valdosta State University. And before I go any further, I have to say, those of you who know me well, and maybe some of you who don't know me well, know that my faith is a very, very important part of my life, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the guidance and the faith that I have in God. And I praise Him for the athletic ability He gave me, and just the strength and protection He afforded me on the football field. I always wore a verse on my wristband. If you look in that picture close enough, you might see it. It was Philippians 4:13, and that says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." And so many times during games, I would look down, and Coach Mummy would be sending in a play, and I would see that. And it was just a great source of strength, a little one-liner that I could always remember, that who am I out here playing for, who am I here performing for, and it was always a source of strength to me. So I have to, first and foremost, give all the credit to God and just praise Him for the athletic ability He did give me and the protection He afforded me. Also just want to say thanks to my wife, Melissa, who I met here at Valdosta State, so that's another great thing. Appreciate you getting me over here. But she has been a great source of strength for me. Some of you may or may not know, I had the privilege of playing professional football for 6 years after I left here, and she was the source of strength for me through that time. I mean, regardless if I came home and I'd thrown 5 interceptions or 5 touchdowns, she still loved me the same, and I appreciate that. And my parents, I just want to thank them. I've been very blessed. They were always a source of strength and encouragement. If you've read the board back there, they've always been there for me. Never. They never missed a game. And I just can't tell you how much that means. And the rest of my family, my brother and sister, their husbands and wives, and my grandparents and my in-laws, I just appreciate the support that you've given me all these years, and my friends that have been very special to me, and thank y'all for being here today as well. And a lot of the guys I played with are here today, and I'd like for those guys to stand up. The guys that they're a big reason I'm up here today, and just wanted to thank them for the blocks and the catches they made, and for helping me have the success on the field that I did. So thank you guys. And again, just wanted to tell you what a privilege and an honor it is to be up here. Sorry for the emotions that came out, but it's overwhelming. It really is to be up here and to be honored in such a way. And thank Lynn Capice as well, wherever she's at, for I must have called her 30 times bugging her with questions, and she's the reason this takes place. She's put in so much hard work, and I think we need to give her a round of applause as well. But that's it. I'll be quiet. Thank you for your attentiveness today. Again, it's an honor to be here, and thank you so much.
Mr. Darrell Greenan.
Great job, Lance. Wow.
Sorry.
I gotta follow that. Unbelievable. I'm gonna, well, you've taken some of my time, so I'm gonna have to keep it short. Thanks for that. Wow. I feel the way Lance does. This is a great honor, and like I said, I'm gonna try to keep it light. But the emotions are definitely there, and I'd like to thank, of course, Valdosta State and Herb and Lynn in the athletic department for this award and all their work putting this weekend together, and Dr. Zachary. I'm very excited and honored to become a member of the Valdosta State Athletic Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank all of you for being here, and I've seen some old professors here I haven't seen in a long time, and some old friends, and this is a great honor, but seeing everybody again really makes the long drive worthwhile. And I'd like to thank my in-laws and my wife for making the long trip with me too. I really appreciate you being here. It's about a 19-hour drive for my parents, so they couldn't be here, so they're in Canada, and a lot of my family's spread out, but I appreciate your support for being here in Shannon. I played for John Hanson, as did everyone else who's represented Valdosta since it was founded in 1906. You look great for your age, John. I had just a great experience here at Valdosta, and playing for John. He's just I'd like to thank John for believing in me, and as a player, and then as a coach, as an assistant. I've always had a passion for the game of tennis, and you know, I mentioned that my father kind of started that out, but John was kind of a father away from home for me, and he helped fuel that passion in tennis, and made it fun for me, and I enjoyed competing under John. Tennis is an individual sport that becomes a team sport when you get to college, and it is just, you know, I went to California with John to play singles, and then I went again with Eric Anderson and John to play doubles, but playing as a team and winning the Gulf South Conference as a team and going and representing Valdosta at the national tournament it's a great memory for me, and being a part of that team, those teams, is just a great memory. John's one of the reasons why I'm still coaching, and I'd like to thank him again for that. When I'm recruiting players now, I tell them, you know, obviously, you know, at Alabama we have a ranked program, and we're in the conference, the SEC is an easy sell, and but what it comes down to are the people, and they really have to get to know the coach and maybe the players that are on that team now, and because that's going to be the most important thing. The rankings don't mean anything. It's all about the people, and I really have been blessed to have met and gotten to know so many great people here at Valdosta and in this community. I have a lot of great memories here, and I'll always remember this weekend, and I'm thankful for this award. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bridget Moore.
Well, I'm glad I got to cry for Lance before I could start crying myself. So Lance, thanks for kind of taking the edge off for me. But it's very emotional for me today, and everybody asked me to get my speech written, but most of you know that if you know me, I'm never at a loss for words. And Herb said, "Now, Bridget, you got to keep it, you got to keep it under 30 minutes." So we'll try to be brief. Coach Cooper, was my coach when I was here. And the one thing he would always say is, put God first, put your parents second, do your studies, and put your basketball forward. And I think that's the way I try to live, your life. You put your God first, your parents, and then your work. It's a real honor for me to be here today. And, looking at this middle table here of my supporters who were, ever how many years ago it was, I don't want to count. I am the oldest one, by the way. But no, I would like to thank Herb, who has really kept me involved in sports since I've been back in town. I left here and went to Emory and was gone for about 13 years, and I couldn't get back and forth because I was in medical school. But since I've been back, Hert's been a real key in trying to keep me involved with the sports here. It was funny, last night, Lynn Capiz, as being a physician back in town, I've been fairly busy, and the way I found out that I had been inducted, of course, I never opened my mail. I never have time for anything. Lynn Capiz made an appointment with my office. So I get her chart, and I come in to see her, and she comes in, and the office was packed, thank God. And she looks at me, and I go, "Oh, Lynn, what can I do for you today?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm here to tell you you've been inducted into the Hall of Fame." And I was like, "Well, there's no charge for your day's visit, Lynn." But no, Lynn Capiz, she's really been there and getting all this stuff organized, and she plays a key part, and I really want to thank her. She has become a really good friend for me today as well. I asked her last night, I said, "Well, Lynn, who is actually involved, with the selection committee?" She goes, "Oh, Bridget, you have this sheet here, and you look at the bottom and you can see." And I started looking down here, and I was like, "Well, Herb, I know Herb and Chuck, Chuck and I were here about the same time, and now I think we're neighbors. And Lynn, of course, and then Jennifer, she's with the basketball, so that kind of helped me out a little bit. And Bill England, well, he's been around, since I was around, and he still kind of looks out for me getting tickets. And then, of course, Coach Hansen, well, he's been around for a little while, too. And then Coach Tommy Thomas is right behind him. So, it gives me a good feeling. And then, of course, Steve Roberts, he was, I feel like I had a pretty good chance of getting in since I knew all these people. And I just really do want to say thank you. Steve's really been there a lot for me the whole time. And Coach Hansen and Coach Thomas, I still get to see them quite a bit. There's also one other coach I don't want to leave out who had to be here today, and that's Coach Domney.
I know Coach Cooper and I butted heads a little bit when I was here, and I'd go to Coach Tom, I was like, Coach Tom, you know, what can I do? He goes, well, Bridget, you know, just need to keep your mouth shut now and just get on out there and try to play a little harder. But one thing that Lance said is he alluded back to his parent or my parents. When I was coming out of high school, I was Converse Top 10 All-American, and I really had a chance to go just about anywhere in the country I wanted to go. I think a lot of that was not because I was such a great player, but I was actually the student athlete that's brought here today. And for the athletes that are here, as far as the grades go, it actually does make it important for the rest of your life, and that's what I try to tell girls that are mentoring or guys that are coming through my office. It makes a huge difference. But I chose to come to Valdosta State because my parents were nearby. I'm from a little town at the way called Alapaha, and they never missed a game either.
But, you know, they've been a rock for me and my family, and I just want to thank them. And also over this table, we have Beth Clark, the girls' basketball, so I know Beth. Well, Beth couldn't be here today because she's pregnant, but her sister and her parents are here, and I also want to thank them. And the other one I want to thank who came, we're going to make her stand up, is Michelle Petrie-White, because she walked in today, and now she's had her hair straightened, and we look just alike, and she was also one of my teammates. So Michelle, please stand up so nobody gets us confused today. But actually, Beth's parents, Beth, who left here and went to Emory to law school and is now a lawyer in Atlanta, actually introduced me to my husband, Richard Barnes. And of course, as I told Richard, you know, we didn't change my last name because everybody knew me as Bridget Moore, and he's Richard Barnes. So of course, nobody ever puts us together, and that kind of works out kind of funny sometimes in Valdosta. But you know, I think I've thanked everybody, and you know, it really is an honor, and it's an emotional time for me. And if I left somebody out, I'm sorry. But I just want to thank you guys for all coming today.
Hitting cleanup for us today, kind of apropos, Brian Schobert.
I'm going to kind of piggyback on everybody else. I appreciate all the work that all these people did to put this together. You know, this is when you start growing up as a little kid and you want to play ball, you never expect something like this to happen out of it. You know, and I'm sure all of these athletes up here can say the same. You know, I want to thank everybody, especially my family, my wife. She's not here today. People probably wonder where she's at. We, back in November, I'm not going to harp on it a lot because I want this to be upbeat. We have a little 2-year-old girl named Madison that got diagnosed with leukemia, and that's where my wife is today, but my 5-year-old is here with me as my date, so she's my support today, and my family at my table. I want to appreciate all of that help. Some of my coaches are here. I want them to stand up. Greg Goodwin, my high school coach, and Gary Staub sitting right next to him. These guys are a big key to me coming here. And then the final piece was Coach Tommy Thomas, which everybody in here knows I know. He's been here longer than I've been alive, so we know how good Coach Thomas is. And he's still doing good, staying strong. So, but I want to thank all my coaches for sure. You know, this is a great day. It's a great day for everything. Everybody's, you know, all the way down to the head table down here. And I know I'm going to leave some people out. But, you know, when I played high school ball, I came from Atlanta up at Redan High School, which a lot of you guys from Lowndes, y'all know Redan because they beat the baseball team this past year, which it didn't make a lot of people happy. But anyways, you know, I had never even heard of Valdosta State coming from there, and never talked to the coaches or anything. And my stepdad, David Ardeezer, he kind of helped all those pieces come together with Coach Goodwin, my high school coach. And you know, when I come down for my tryout, you know, I talked to Coach Thomas, and I said, well, Coach, I need to bring my gloves and my cleats. He said, no. He said, you don't even need to bring them. He said, just come down and see the facilities. And he said, I've heard that you're a good player. You know, and I was thinking to myself, who in the world? But, you know, friends, family, coaches, the scouts, they were the ones that he had heard from. And my freshman year, I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to, but, you know, that's just part of the game. But, you know, as you go into your seasons and get going, things turn out like they did, you know, and I never expected for them to be the way they are or they were when I played. The records that I have, in high school I wasn't even a strikeout pitcher. You know, when I came to college I developed a new pitch and it worked. Nobody had ever seen it before at Division II level, I guess. But I wasn't overpowering, just a little small guy that threw in the mid-80s. But I threw strikes, which helped a lot, you know. You know, I'm not, the things in the past 3 months, as far as my life goes and as far as it was before, this is a great honor, you know, for our family, for everyone at this head table, even all the other athletes. You know, it's a blessing. And, you know, like Lance said and the other athletes said, you know, there's one person that we all have to thank for this, and that's the Lord above. Without him, you know, there would be any of this. And it's a great time, and I've enjoyed my time here, and I come to all the games that I can. My daughter, my little 5-year-old daughter, she's one of the cheerleaders. If you've ever been to a football game or to a basketball game, she's right down there with them. She doesn't even sit with Daddy. She brings her cheerleader outfit, and I don't see her the rest of the game. They take good care of her, and that's, you know, that's a good friendly atmosphere, and that's something that you want your kids growing up in. But, you know, like I said, I've appreciated everything. One thing about Herb said I'm hitting cleanup. That's one thing I did want to do at Valdosta State. I think I got 3 at-bats, and I got 2 hits out of those 3 at-bats. I tried to push Coach Thomas to let me hit, but I wasn't recruited here to hit. You know, I was recruited here to pitch. And there's been a lot of memories. You know, a lot of the memories that I've gotten from playing at Valdosta State. A lot of long bus rides, breaks freezing in the snow, guys from Florida never seen snow in their life. A lot of memories I can't share with you. So, but there's been some great memories, and there's going to be a lot more memories. You know, and I don't know if any of my ex-players, I know Shannon Jernigan is here. Shannon was my catcher. He's the assistant here now. And, you know, people like that, I've heard a lot of the other athletes, you know, it's a team sport, even tennis. You know, tennis is a one person most of the time. But, you know, you got to have a good team around you, not only your players, but the people that call all the shots, like Mr. Reinhardt, you know, your coaches, your presidents. Those things are what make all of this come together. And it's a beautiful thing when it happens. It's a beautiful thing. But, you know, I'm privileged to be here, and I wanted to try to get as many people as I could here, and we got as many as we could. And but, you know, I wanted to say another thing about Coach Goodwin. When I was a senior in high school, my parents went through a divorce, and you know, my dad was gone, and this guy right here was, you know, he was there for me. When you're playing with a team like that, you know, you're there all the time. You can ask any athlete there is. When you want to play and you want to be good, you got to live the game, no matter what you're playing. And you know, it's been a great attribute, and I appreciate him really coming. And down here, we don't do it as much as far as like a traveling team goes. But Mr. Gary Staub, my other coach up in Atlanta, we have traveling teams. And once the season's over, you go travel for 2 or 3 months to New York, Kentucky, all over the place, and you play ball all year round. And you know, a lot of my recognition was during my summer league teams also. So there's a lot of pieces that fit into the puzzle to make things happen, just like this great day today. But again, I know I probably missed a few people. My family's here. Like I said, my wife, she's here too, along with my little 2-year-old. You know, everything's going great, and it's because of the prayers, you know, because of one person doing all that for her. So, but I want to thank y'all again for coming, and again, I appreciate everything. Thanks a lot.
Thank you all for helping to make this a very special day. Thank you, inductees, for how you represent Valdosta State. We appreciate it a great deal. Thank you. Have a great day.